All right, guys, welcome back to another podcast, Paris, Texas. I have made a new friend today. This is somebody I literally just met, so it's not like I have any questions prepared because I just met him today. Nick Murillo?
Yes.
Okay, make sure I pronounce that right.
That's right.
I actually just did a podcast with him. You want to go check that out. It's going to be on the Pew Chew. Where all can we find that at?
Just iTunes right
Just
now.
iTunes right now? Okay,
Yeah.
so on iTunes you can go find the Pew Chew and you can hear that podcast. It was a lot of fun.
It was.
It's the first time I've ever been on a podcast that wasn't one that I made.
Oh, that's good.
All right, Nick, are you a Parisian or are you a Parasite?
I guess I would have to say Parisian. I don't really think of myself in that way that much. As far as the city I live in, maybe I should, but Parasite just has too many
Negative
biological
problem
connotations.
Yeah.
It's problematic biologically. Maybe we can take that word back if we get enough people to refer to it as the place where you live. I don't know. That's a big undertaking.
From what I'm told, I may not be saying it exactly right when I say it, but it's all in the way you say it. So it's either Parasite or Parasite.
Okay.
So the way it should be is that if you're a Parisian, then you're born and raised in Paris, Texas.
Okay.
If you're a Parasite, then you are someone who has moved here since birth.
Is that official or?
That's what I'm open to different arguments on that. That's part of the podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, with the kind of the Texas drawl, I don't think you're gonna be able to make that distinction from Parasite to Parasite very
easily, because I don't make it very easily.
Yeah. I didn't even know you could do that with that word, but
that was just what someone else had brought up in the podcast, and I kind of sort of agree, but like
right,
half and half.
Yeah.
Now I don't do this because I want to cause a distinction between the two. I think hopefully the opposite, that if someone met you, they wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
What do you mean?
So if I was to meet you and talk to you and have a whole conversation in Starbucks with you, and then I walked away from that conversation and someone asked me right then, did that person grow up in Paris? Like, unless they really knew you, they wouldn't be able to know that.
Right.
So this is more of it's kind of a topic starter because I feel like 90% of the time you can't answer the question without a story.
Sure.
So for me, it's like if you were to ask me that question, I would say I'm Parisian. I was born and raised here. I graduated from North Lamar in 2000. So I kind of go right into like why I'm a Parisian.
Oh, okay.
Where if you're a Parasite or however you want to say it. So like I had a friend, Claudia Farr, who's from Brazil.
Okay.
Born and raised in Brazil. She's lived in America for a while, but she's only lived in Paris for the last year, a little bit over a year. But she loves Paris. So she hates being called a Parasite or a Parasite, whichever it is, because she loves Paris so much she wants to be a Parisian.
Okay. But that's not afforded to her. She can't be a Parisian. Is that what we're saying?
Technically, no.
Okay.
I wish there was a middle ground. I wish there was like a badge of honor to where like once you've like prove yourself as a huge fan, a big lover of Paris, Texas, then you are awarded this name.
Right.
That's not Parasite because it sounds again too negative.
Yeah.
But I haven't come up with a good.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of probation period you could go into where you're like Parasite. Parasite. That sounds even worse.
Yeah, it does sound bad. Okay. I mean, I will keep working on that.
Okay.
We'll keep working on that.
All right.
Okay, so you were born in Paris.
I was, 1983.
1983. I was in 81.
Okay.
And we talked, I remember in the last podcast you said you went to North Lamar.
I went to Paris.
Paris, I'm sorry. I went to North Lamar. You went to Paris.
Yes, I'm not you. Yes.
Yeah. I want everybody to be me. Okay, so Paris. Dang it, I'm not getting it right. So Paris. So what did you do at Paris?
So I graduated in 2001. That was a while ago.
A while
So,
ago. Understatement.
Yes. So I guess I'd started out my high school career playing or trying out for football, because I'd done that in my middle school years, and I think it was the summer before my freshman year when I was doing two-a-days. I was doing some sort of drill with I remember Michael Plata was there.
No, Michael Plata.
Yeah, maybe it's Plata. Is it Plata?
I think it's Plata.
I think it's Plata. Maybe Plata. I don't know. And he was supposed to be the guy that I was supposed to hit. I was supposed to be practicing hitting. Right?
Okay.
And I am horrible at hitting people with my head. So I tried it in such a way that the coach started yelling at me, saying, "You're going to break your neck like that." And so I decided at that point that I would just stick with band. And so I played saxophone, and during marching season I played bass drum, and just did that throughout high school. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of directions that conversation could go in.
So you played band, and you did marching band. Now, did you ever go to because did they do UIL back then?
They did, yeah.
Did you ever go to state or anything?
I really don't remember. I know that we competed for that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I just never valued that sort of thing at that age. It just was not important to me.
Okay.
But I enjoyed the music and traveling and stuff. But if we got a trophy or not, it wasn't that important to me.
Wasn't that important?
Yeah.
Okay, so you graduated from Paris High in 2001.
Yes.
And then where'd you go from there?
University of North Texas in Denton. Mm-hmm. And was there for 3 years, went to PJC before that, and graduated with a bachelor's degree in literature, and just did a lot of reading, especially that last senior year. I would just wake up and read, out of 5 different books that I had to read.
So school reading.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And, eat and then read some more and then go to sleep and then read, and then write papers over it and stuff. So just very much a,
Now, did you love doing that, or is that just something that was required and so you did it?
I love doing it, and I still love doing it when I have time. I actually was not much of a reader until my freshman year also. That's probably one of the most defining things I think about high school for me is I had a teacher named Mrs. Pope, and she saw something in me that, whatever it was, she gave me a short story by Ernest Hemingway.
Okay.
And it was called A Clean, Well-Lighted Place. And it was, for whatever reason, that story just kind of opened up this literary world to me.
It's awesome.
And I think we had talked about this previously, but you had mentioned that you didn't know that you had that kind of creative bent to you, and I didn't either until Mrs. Pope kind of came along and said, whatever it is that she picked up on, that story did it, and so there I am, whatever it was, 10 years later, in a Denton apartment, reading, 5 books at a time, writing papers over them and stuff, and it's definitely not real exciting to talk about, but that's just kind of where I ended up, collegiate wise,
I think I don't fully disagree. I think I see how a lot of people might be bored by that, but I find it fascinating. I don't read a lot, so I wish I was better at it. I'm more of an auditorial learner, so I listen to a lot of audiobooks.
Okay.
But not a lot, but I listen to
Right.
audiobooks.
Right.
But I often wish that I had time and known that I wish audiobooks were more available at a younger age, because I think I would have enjoyed a lot of the books that were required for school if I'd have been able to
Right.
digest them through the audio version of them.
Yeah. More accessible.
More accessible. That's a good word, because I struggle. I'm very dyslexic. I don't know if people know that about me, but I'm very dyslexic. So when I read a book, like I'll read the page and I go back and I like literally cannot remember what I just read. Like it just but I can listen to a book, and I can even listen to a book and be editing like photos or something. I can be doing multiple things and comprehend way more of that book than ever trying to sit down and read it. So I think as a young kid, I was very not scared, but like very detached from ever wanting to even try.
Right.
So I just didn't, like, I would cheat my way through book exams and stuff like that because I didn't even try.
Yeah.
But
is there any kind of like type of paper that helps that? I've heard that.
I haven't found that.
Okay.
I mean, I've tried books, and I've tried it printed out, and I've tried it in different facets like that, and I've even tried reading on like tablets, because now you didn't when I was a kid, but now you have tablets that you can read through, and it's, I don't fully understand it, but it's just something with the way that I comprehend those words that it just doesn't register the same as when I hear the words.
Yeah, it's just the reading part of it.
It's just the reading part of it. Even school, we're getting deep into my history. I don't mean to steal your podcast, but if someone were to read a question to me, I would be able to answer it easier than if someone were to make me read it on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
I have no idea. That's like deep into somebody's brain stuff. I need.
Right.
There's people who go to school for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you did a whole bunch of essays. Do you have a favorite one?
A favorite essay that I wrote?
Or a book / essay / during that time, I guess.
During that time period?
Yeah, not of all time.
Right.
Obviously, the Bible would probably, for you, would be pretty high up there, right?
There's some pretty good essays in there.
Yeah.
I guess the only thing that sticks out is I remember reading a short story that I don't even remember who it was that wrote it or what the name of it was, and I don't really remember that much of what it was about, but I remember what the teacher, the professor who graded it, thought about the essay. I'd sort of made some sort of connection or something between that short story and another short story, and I remember she wrote in this blue pen, this cursive, saying, "These parallels continue to impress," and that's really all I remember about any of the essays I think I wrote. There's just something about that emotional kind of resonance from that person who was smarter than me and had all this knowledge and stuff that stuck with me. It's kind of odd how that happens, but I don't remember any of the essays, but I remember exactly what she wrote and how it was written. But other than that,
Didn't stand out?
Yeah.
All right, so you graduated from UNT Denton?
Yes.
Okay, so UNT Denton, you graduated from there. Where'd you go from there?
Well, I was considering the Peace Corps.
Okay.
And I'd applied to, I think it was either that or the AmeriCorps. And I'd even done some interviews with one of those organizations. And then I heard from a former teacher that I'd had that they were needing a Spanish teacher. And so I applied for that and ended up teaching. And it just was something that I was unexpectedly kind of just fell in love with. And I've just kind of been doing that, ever since.
Okay, so Spanish teacher.
Yeah.
Have you always been? How long have you been fluent in Spanish?
So I worked at Capizi's for maybe 5-6 years, something like that.
Okay.
Kind of off and on after high school. And I learned Spanish a lot from that.
Wow.
From just people working there, and stuff. So I took a lot of it in high school and, some in college. I minored in it in college. And it was really the using it in, in that restaurant setting that kind of.
So using it in Capizi's, did that make you want to dive into it more in college?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of went back and forth from majoring in English and majoring in Spanish. I was a Spanish major at one point, and it didn't have enough of the I guess the kind of the meaning that I was looking for in literature. We were expected to read stories and novels and stuff in Spanish, but I was just more inclined to finding meaning in like American authors and stuff like that. So, but the learning the language happened here more than it did in college and stuff. So,
do you know any other languages?
No, just Spanish and English. So.
I know a little bit of Spanish.
Yeah.
And I know very little bit of Mandarin.
Oh, really?
Because I spent a little bit of time in Beijing, so while I was there, I learned as much as I could, which is not much. But
yeah, I remember our high school Spanish teacher would have people ask him that, and he would say "nein," which is German for no.
German for no, yeah.
That's a pretty good answer.
That is a pretty good answer.
So
that's funny. All right, so where was your first teaching job?
Paris High School.
Paris High School, okay.
Yeah.
So you came back home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And were there any teachers there that were still teaching that you went to school, like taught you in school?
Most of them.
Most of them?
Yeah.
How was that?
That was great.
It wasn't weird for you at all?
Well, I mean, it was a little weird because I'm on the same professional status as they were. I mean, they obviously knew more than I did, and they were obviously more, experienced, but still being called a teacher with them was kind of odd, because it was like as soon as I graduated, like that same year, I became a teacher and stuff. So
it was probably 4 or 5 years after you left?
Man, yeah. So 2001, I graduated, and then in 2005, I was a teacher at the high school that I graduated from. So,
and I bet time flew by for them too. So it was like 4 years later, they're someone they just taught. It feels like they just taught.
Yeah, there were times
in the break room with them.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there were times when I got mistaken for a student in the hall. Like that happened on a regular basis. People would ask me what I was doing outside of class and stuff, But yeah, it was great. I loved that
awesome.
first year.
So are you still doing that now?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Spanish teacher.
And you still love it?
I do. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot going on in that conversation, but yeah. I mean, I don't know that there's any more immediate kind of community service that I could be doing outside of teaching. It's kind of where I'm
strong suit.
Yeah, inclined.
Yeah.
So
what else do you do? What else? Is there any other interest you're into?
I love music.
Really? Like play? Like, so you played in band, obviously.
I did. Yeah.
Do you love playing music still, or just listening to music?
Both. Yeah. Yeah.
Still play the saxophone?
No. That's not really a one. That's not really a one person instrument to.
I don't know. Some of those jazz nights, they play the saxophone in that, or is that something else? I may be wrong.
Well, by themselves.
I don't know.
Okay.
I literally did like I don't know, 6 weeks of band, and then I was like, I'm done.
Oh, what did you play?
Saxophone.
Oh, did you? Okay. So we're
It's not a bad thing. Band is awesome.
Yeah.
It's just not. It wasn't my strong suit.
Sure.
So I just didn't. I wasn't into it.
Did you get the wrong instrument, or was it just instruments altogether?
Instruments altogether. I'm
okay.
still. There's been times that I've wanted to be good at instruments since then, and I've gone back and tried. Like I tried to play bass guitar multiple times, and I just don't have the. I don't know the
dexterity.
Yeah, it's just not like, again, we talked about this, like you have gifts and you don't, and that's just not a gift I have.
Right.
I can play a camera all day long, but I just can't. I'm just not good at instruments.
Yeah, I mean, the saxophone was the very first thing I learned how to play, and then the drums, bass drum, and then I think I had kind of picked up guitar that middle school years, maybe, and then I was playing that in high school with some friends, like in kind of small garage bands and stuff, and didn't really play it as much in college, but then after college I kind of picked it up a lot more and played a lot more guitar than anything else. So
you still play the guitar?
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's your favorite song to play?
I don't know. There are several.
You don't have like a go-to one? Like if someone said just here, play something, you don't like just...
like a slow version of "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" is a good one.
That's awesome.
Because it's unexpected, That's usually a crowd pleaser.
Do you sing too, or just play?
I do. I try to sing. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I can't do that either.
No.
No. And shower, I can do pretty good.
You sing in the shower?
A solid shower singer.
Okay.
But in the car alone, I'm really good at that too.
Right.
With it loud enough that you can't hear me, really good at it.
Right.
But on stage in front of people, not happening.
Right. Right.
Nope.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Do you still have your saxophone, or did you?
No.
Okay.
No. My parents, they took that right back.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Because they spend a lot of money. Those things aren't cheap.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
And, for someone who's not interested. I was really good at running cross country in high school. So, and it didn't cost anything.
Yeah.
Well, shoes, but I mean that compared to a saxophone, that ain't nothing.
Right. I kind of wish I'd been in stuff like cross country. I think band took up a lot of my time, but I think that probably would have gotten me in the habit more of running.
Especially when you're doing like marching band. That's like a sport. I've seen those guys.
Yeah, ish. I mean, I don't know. That's a good conversation, I think, to have. Is marching band a sport?
Well, okay. I have been. I've done a lot of stuff with the high school theater department because it's just another place that I really have a heart for. More North Lamar, not Parasite. So Cody Heads, you heard his podcast I did on here. Good friend of mine. So I go up there with him, and a small chunk of his actors and stuff are also in band. But I've seen them come back from like doing marching band practice out in the parking lot.
Right.
And they seem to be I mean, either they're really good at acting, which they are actors, but either they're really good at acting, or they are working hard out there. I mean, especially someone carrying a tuba around in Texas heat.
Right. Right.
Not quite running, but like fast walking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Through the parking lot. I mean, that's to me a sport enough.
Right.
It's more than I want to do with the tuba.
I mean, if you just stand outside, you'll sweat though.
That's true.
Right. I mean, how do you define what a sport is?
I mean, if you exert a lot of energy doing it, to me that feels like it's probably in the ballpark of a sport.
Okay. And
you have to achieve something while doing that.
Okay.
So if I'm running and I also have to achieve a time, like I'm beating other people in a time, I'm trying to achieve something while running.
Right.
Right? I may be totally off base here.
No, I don't know the answer.
People can call me out on that.
No.
But if I'm carrying I mean, okay, a tuba is the greater end of it, but
Sure.
if I'm carrying a flute and I am running and I'm nearly running and trying to play like tones at the same exact time,
Right.
to me that seems like a sport.
So our criteria are putting effort
Right.
into accomplishing something.
Correct.
Okay. Outside.
In the heat, in Texas heat.
In Texas heat.
It's
okay.
not like we're in Hawaii
Sure.
and it's like 70 every day and it just feels great to be outside.
Right. So I mean, is flying a kite a sport?
In some countries, yes.
Okay.
Maybe not in America,
Okay.
but in some countries, I believe it is, right?
Yeah. I mean, now that you say that, I mean, there is some pretty hardcore flying kites out there,
Right?
But they're like they're doing
Flips and
Yeah,
it's
pirouettes and all this. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
more than like me taking my son out and crashing the thing into the ground 10 times is not.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like me saying I'm a cross country runner still,
right.
which is not true. Even
Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know. I guess when I think of sport, I think of like football. I think of basketball, like your general kind of soccer. These are baseball.
I
I
get.
don't
Well, I
know.
mean, what about cheerleading?
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to accomplish something there, exerting energy. Is golf? Would you consider golf a sport?
I have a father-in-law that would.
Okay.
He doesn't play golf, but he watches it.
Okay.
Along with every other sport. He's a huge sport fan. I mean,
Okay.
he has like higher. They rank higher in different stuff, but like you don't go into the house and there's not a sporting event being played on TV.
So what if you like play chess outside? Is that a sport?
But chess doesn't. Well,
I mean, you're exerting energy. You're trying to accomplish something, and it's outside.
this is getting too deep. Too deep. Because I mean, I would say there are people that would say yes.
Right.
Because there are military people who like use chess as like strategy for like. I mean, there's probably football coaches that use chess for strategy on how they do
I'm
plays.
sure. Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe that's a tactic and not a sport. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do hear people like say that band isn't a sport. Marching band isn't a sport because it's got to be something like football. Where you're
It's too close-minded, though, isn't it?
Well, maybe. I guess I'm just looking for the parameters of what a sport is.
When we're done, I'm Googling, I swear.
Okay. But I don't know the answer to that.
I'm sure there's some sort of, like, sports dictionary or something that says that it has to be A,
Yeah.
B, and C for it to be considered a sport.
Right. I know they'll call like race car driving, NASCAR, like that's a sport for a lot of folks.
Right.
Um,
Because otherwise there's, like, Harry Potter fans who play Quidditch.
right.
Quidditch.
Right.
And that's right? That's the right term?
I didn't read the book. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's the term, and they would want to call that a sport, but it's more of like they're running around with sticks in their hand.
Right.
I'm sorry if you play Quidditch. Please don't stop listening to me.
But that's more of a sport than sitting outside playing chess.
True.
So I don't know.
It's closer to like rugby or something. Oh no, what's the one where they have the stick and they throw the ball? It's not rugby. It's
lacrosse.
Lacrosse.
Yeah.
It's closer to lacrosse.
Yeah.
Anyway, I do not know how we got so far into this.
It's a good question though.
All right, so you play, you sing. How do you implement that into your life? How is that just something you do when you're home? Hobby?
Yeah. When I have time, I really don't have a lot of time to do that these days. But it's just kind of something that you can do to, I guess, just kind of wind down and stuff. Otherwise, there's not a lot of time to do it that much. So.
I feel like I'm lucky in the sense that like my hobby is my job.
Right.
So like I don't think a lot of people get to have that luxury. So like I see other people that like to do what I do and they buy the gear that I have to do it on the weekends.
Right.
And I literally buy it to do it every day.
Yeah.
which hopefully makes me a better, not better than them, I'm not saying that, but makes me better at what my craft is.
Right.
Because I think to be better at something is something you implement every day. Like, you just try to do it every day, and that makes me better at it.
Do you feel like you've gotten better?
Oh, yeah. I was watching a video that I made a year ago, not too long ago, and I was like, what in the world is this? Like, how, like, that is not how, don't do it like that, Broadway. Don't ever do it like that again. So, yes, I think just doing it on, like, repetitively makes, I mean, that's anything you do.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to be a better lacrosse player, I mean, you just play it every day. Or you better guitarist. I mean, you learned by doing, right? Like.
Yeah, I mean, I did have a teacher, but yeah, I mean, I got better by playing more.
My teacher was YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I feel like YouTube is a poor man's teacher these days.
Yeah, I mean, you could do drywall off of YouTube. I mean,
you
can do a lot of stuff.
You can. Anytime I have a household problem,
yeah,
YouTube is the first thing I go to.
Yeah. I was gonna say I saw, I think it was a short film you did. I don't remember the title.
Philadelphia?
Yeah. Is it just Philadelphia? Okay. And so I've got a lot of questions about that I wanted to ask you.
Okay, go.
Okay. So the title is like spaced out, is that right? Okay.
Because it's the definition of Philadelphia.
Okay.
Which is, it's got a couple different ones, but one of them is brotherly love.
Right.
It's the biblical definition of Philadelphia.
Right. But so you spaced it out in the way that like it's spaced out in a dictionary or something? Oh, okay. I gotcha. Okay. I wasn't sure why that was.
Because that's how you would like, they show you in the dictionary how to like pronounce it.
Right.
So it's meant to look like it was in a dictionary.
Okay.
Now most people don't know that, and you're the first to ever ask why.
Okay. So that movie, or that short film, whatever you want to call it, came out before A Quiet Place.
4 years before.
Yeah, and A Quiet Place is this movie where it's all about sound, and presume, you know, like I'm assuming that what happens in your film, it doesn't show it, but are some sort of monsters.
Yeah, their budget was different than my budget. Okay. No, it's literally the exact same premise.
Right. Yeah.
I even wrote the director, which is Jim from The Office, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. Nicely. I mean, he did a phenomenal job. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he nailed it.
Yeah.
But I wrote him and just like, dude, I loved your work. Just wanted to let you know, hey, I made something very similar to the same world that you were in 4 years ago. Check it out.
Right.
I was trying to be really nice. I didn't want to be that jerk that's like, you stole my idea.
Right.
I want money like that. I don't want money. I just thought it was so cool because when I was making mine and I told people the idea of what it was about, I got the strangest looks. So I can only imagine when he was like pitching it to a production company. Oh, I'm gonna make this movie,
right.
And he tried to describe what it was about. I can only imagine what these like guys who are wanting to. He's asking money. I've never pitched a movie to a production company, so I don't really know what it's like. But these guys sitting behind this big table, and he's trying to tell them like, I can make this awesome movie. Give me money, and we'll be awesome. I can only imagine the looks he got when he first pitched it. Like, do you want aliens? I don't know. It was hard for me to pitch it to people.
Yeah.
My wife didn't even really understand what I was doing until she saw it.
Right.
And then she really liked it.
Yeah. That's kind of how it works. But yeah, I thought the premise was really amazing. It's so from what I remember, it's this two brothers. Mm-hmm. And they're kind of walking, and there's like this narration, and kind of giving a backstory as to what's going on, and
the narration basically gives a little bit of the backstory, so you have to really listen to what he's talking about through the whole thing.
Yeah.
But so the way it kind of works, is so the aliens can only detect you by sound. Right. And it's up to a certain decibel. So, like, you walking isn't, like, loud enough for them to hear you.
Right.
A fire just lightly crackling isn't going to be loud enough for them to really come and get you. But, in my film there was a scene where there was enough loud noise that it shows them coming,
like that car door or hood or whatever was
slammed.
loud.
Yeah. And so I entered it in a contest, and there were 1,800 other entries, and we got top 10. I say top 10, but there wasn't a winning top 10. There was like a winning 3,
Okay.
and so we weren't really. But we got like an honorable mention from a judge, and then we actually had one of the judge write us, which was one of the best. That was like winning to me. And he basically said I love this, I love this, I love this, I love this. Great premise overall. Here's what I would change. Blah 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 blah. And he had a couple really great things, but his biggest thing was like he really wanted to see what happened when that happened. Like when the thing slammed, he wanted to see something happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I just didn't have the technical know-how then, nor anybody on the team had the know-how to like put an alien,
Right.
other than like a rubber suit that we bought off of Amazon maybe. But
What would you have it look like? Or
I honestly thought if I had the know-how, if I really didn't have the know-how, I wouldn't have put an alien in there, because I think that would have, even in A Quiet Place, I think that the scariness of the alien almost distracted from the action of what was happening.
Right.
I'm not critiquing The Quiet Place. I think he did great. I more wanted like they just, like, you never saw the aliens. The person just would disappear.
Yeah.
Like kind of smoke or like a dust cloud or something just kind of happened, and they just kind of floated off and they were gone.
Yeah.
Something that left the, and you could kind of even tell this because he said at the end, the narration said like he stayed in the same place hoping that they would come back. So something that would happen, but that would lead him to believe that like they disappeared, and I'm just going to wait here till they maybe kind of reappear.
Right.
Just like the way they disappeared.
Yeah.
So you never saw a big scary, I don't know, flower-looking monster attacking them and eating them, which would be really hard to achieve
Right.
on no budget. But that's how I probably would have done it, more of kind of a pixel, like not pixel, but like a dust cloud.
Right.
And they just disappear.
Have you seen the old Twilight Zone?
Oh yeah, I
Okay.
love Twilight Zone.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of the Twilight Zone stuff.
Yeah.
That kind of, it uses storytelling to get it, the audience to react, as opposed to like just this crazy special effects or whatever in your face stuff.
Exactly.
And it also reminded me of The Shining, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, because it's supposed to be a movie about ghosts. And, when you think about ghosts and all these movies today, you get these really weird images and special, makeup, all those sorts of things. But he just has, like, normal people talking to other people, And it functions in a really, I think, effective way that's, a lot more imaginative and... I guess just more effective than because it's like you're saying, like that mystery is still there. There's something.
And our hope was, because the kid in that, JJ Sherbay, who was the narrator and the youngest brother, his face when his brother was taken was priceless.
Yeah.
Like he nailed that scene.
Yeah, I was surprised by how good that acting was.
And so I was hoping that would kind of take, like, that emotion, and that his face would, like, take over for the fact that there wasn't a big, CGI alien standing over him.
Right.
And, I mean, I think, had I been able to do the particle effect where the brother kind of just disappeared, I would have done that for sure, but I wasn't capable of it, and I think that might have helped. But I think there were other issues in as a creator, I'm always my own worst critic. I think there were other issues. If I had had the technical know-how, I would have focused on some other stuff other than a big CGI monster.
Yeah. So the brother that survived, what's his name?
JJ Sherbay.
Well, the character's name.
Man, it's been so long.
Well, I don't remember. I remember.
One was Ronin and one was...
Yeah. Whatever the second brother, the brother who...
The older brother?
Well, the one that survives.
Okay, that's the youngest one.
I didn't... This is the first time I've ever had a revelation in a film by looking at the credits, because it says older, whatever his name is. Mm-hmm. And because I didn't make the connection in watching the story that the older guy at the end was the guy, was the kid. But the credits explain that to me. I don't know if that's just some sort of...
Yeah, and that was played by my grandfather.
Oh, really? Okay.
The old version of JJ. I think it was Ronin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was him. He had stayed in the same location. At least that's the way the story goes, as the narration tells it, waiting for his brother basically to come back. And that goes back to brotherly love, and that being the title.
Yeah.
Which is it was super creative and outside the box, maybe even a little too far outside of the box, but we were having fun with it.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think you'll do more? Or is that
funny story. I haven't told anyone this, other than people involved. So I just finished my second one.
Oh, really?
I went a different route. I went like a rodeo comedy.
Okay.
I know, right? It's like polar opposite fields. I probably should have stuck in my wheelhouse. It wasn't bad. It was a really good film. It was a great film. It had Luke Krogman from Krogman Sand and Gravel. And Corey Larson. They're two friends. They're hilarious together. And I'd seen them do some videos on Facebook, and I reached out to them and said, "Hey, I want to make a short film." So we made this. We wrote up this script. We spent 6 months working on the script, and shooting and editing and all of it. And it had to enter in the contest, it had to be 3 minutes or less, which is really hard to do when it comes to editing. And we got all the way there, and we got down to the deadline. We still had a couple more tweaks to make, and it was like I don't remember the exact days, but it was like a Wednesday, and the deadline was Friday. It was a late Wednesday night, and we got ready. We had the final changes being made. I went to log on to the website where you upload the final product. And because the contest is based out of Australia, their midnight time is different than Texas midnight time. That's like 16 hours different. So right. I'd literally missed the deadline for uploading it by like an hour or something like that.
So is there nothing else to turn it into? Or? Yeah,
there's some other contests, but they're not this wasn't really designed for that, and they're a little different, and I've been struggling. I looked in a couple. Some of them are paid, and this other one wasn't paid, which that's not a big issue, but I've been on the fence whether I want to just wait and enter it in next year in the same one, or just find another one, but I'm not sure what I want to do.
Yeah.
I've been tempted to have it's a 3-minute short film, so it's really hard to like invite people out to a screening of a 3-minute short film, because it's literally like it'll take them longer to walk from their car into a place to watch it than it will for them to watch the whole short film. So
just play it in slow motion.
Yeah, and I saw this other day. I don't know how this got onto me. I keep letting my guests get into like asking me questions. I saw the other day where you can do like this joint online watch, where like you invite. I barely just glanced over it, so I don't know the details. But you can invite other people to watch online with you, and you can show something so they could all be at home, and they just log on at this specific time, and they watch it, and then they can comment about it and stuff like that. Okay. It's like a group watch or something like that. I thought about doing something like that where hopefully it makes it to where you can only be invited to it, and then I just would invite a bunch of friends, and then we'd all watch it together, and then we could all talk about it later or next time I see them or whatnot. But I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But it was a really funny little 3-minute short.
Cool. Yeah.
I have probably like 10 more ideas of short films. The biggest issue is time.
Right. You mean making it? or
making
the time to make it.
The time to make it,
Right.
and then you really need. I try to make most of my short films have like 1 or 2 people in it. That way you don't have to have a whole lot of actors that you have to depend on. And then you really just need a team. And then with the team, it takes a lot of different people's schedules. And then, once you get kids and jobs and all that involved, schedule's just hard. It's hard. If I was 25 again, I'd probably be busting them out weekly. And if I was at 25 with the resources that I had right now, I'd be doing them all the time.
Yeah.
All right. Back to you.
Okay.
I'm terrible at this game.
No, you're doing great.
We're supposed to be telling your story. So you obviously like short films.
Yeah.
At least somewhat.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite short film?
I'm not that into it.
Philadelphia.
Yeah. It's the best one that I've seen. I guess I think I've only seen one other one that I can remember enough to talk about. There's one called Lights Out. Have you heard of that? Have you seen that?
What happens?
So it's supposed to be kind of like a scary one where I think it may be only like 3 to 5 minutes or something like that. But there's this person who's in an apartment by themselves, and they're going to bed, and they go to turn the hallway light off.
Okay.
And there's kind of like a room that's like backlit, and it's a woman, and she sees this silhouette of a person in her hallway.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Creepy.
And then she flicks the light back on.
I have seen this.
And then it doesn't, and then there's nobody there.
There's nobody there.
Yeah, it's spooky. It's super.
I have seen
super
this.
spooky. So.
It's been a while, but I've seen this one.
I think it won some awards or something.
One of my favorite ones I've watched. I think it's called Black Hole. And this guy is he's in an office and he's printing stuff. And then he prints off this piece of paper, and it's literally got like a big black spot, as big as black spot you can print on a 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And he goes to set like a cup of coffee or something on top of the paper, and then it falls down into like a black hole. And then he realizes that he can put the black hole up against like a vending machine, and then he can reach in and he can grab out like snacks, and then eventually he has a stroke of genius where he thinks he can put it up against a safe, and he ends up like crawling in. Like, obviously this hole's not that big, but the short film, I'm not doing it justice, but he's able to crawl into the safe and get the money out, but the sheet of paper falls down, so he's not able to come out. So it's a really funny short film. You should probably go and check it out if you get a chance.
Yeah.
But hey, man, thanks so much for joining me. It's been fun. I had so much fun on your podcast, and this one was a blast as well. It's been a blast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun.
Yeah, guys. So next, every week, Mondays, tune in. There'll be a new person that lives in Paris, Texas. And just enjoy. As always, we're on all platforms for the most part. So just find your favorite podcast app, search Paris, Texas, and you should be able to find us. See you later.